wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons, the Transformers. The Transformers. That means the Transformers.
Welcome everybody to another exciting edition of Transformers Reviews. Well, today guys, we're going to be taking a look at Cyberverse Shockwave in his mobile artillery mode. Now, they've actually had a very similar design to this in the Fall of Cybertron game, which Brawl transformed into a stationary one. So technically, I guess this is supposed to be like a step up above that, because Shockwave is supposed to be able to move in this mode, if I understand it correctly. Hence, like the leg-looking features. However, while we are looking at legs and such, you guys can obviously tell what become his robot mode arms and legs later on. I mean, they aren't trying to hide it all that much. And to be honest, it doesn't really bother me. I mean, I like what it's trying to go for. And it is a little odd, I'm not gonna lie, but I like it because, as we noticed over here, you know, you can see all the little bit of details on like the cannon and stuff. I love that. Now, one thing that this thing, or actually members of this line are notorious for, is they all have an action feature, which is just a fancy word for gimmick. Now, on him, basically what happens is when you pull the lever back on the cannon, the barrel part, that's a really stubby barrel, but the barrel part will pull back like it's firing this energy blast. And I mean, that's a cool feature. You know, a kid would love that. But as you can see, when I let go of the lever, it actually has a spring that's supposed to help pull it back. But even just letting go, as you're seeing right now, it doesn't really work all that well. But again, consider the price point you're paying for this thing. However, if you do want to collapse it, you can pull it back by the trigger, or like I like to do, I can just flip it like that. Mostly goes back, boom, helps fill in the gap. Fantastic, right? And like I said, the aesthetic is cool. You know, it's not the best thing I've ever seen, but you know, if we take a look and compare it to a regular-ish vehicle, you know, you can definitely see the difference. Plus, the detailing for this really puts the Cyberverse figure, the styling of it, doesn't really go with any of the generations. You'll especially see that later on in robot mode. But Cyberverse has what I like to call a little bit of a softer tool edge, which basically just gives it more of a, it looks like it came straight out of the animation, and it keeps that style, whereas these guys are supposed to be a little bit more grounded, if that makes sense. So but I mean, definitely when you're looking at these two, it's not as evident as it, like I said, it will be more evident in robot mode, but to a degree you can kind of tell the difference between the two styles. But also this gives you an idea of sort of the size comparison where Shockwave sits at in robot mode. Well, with this guy being so simple, I don't mind. You guys have seen, I occasionally will break my rule if it's an easy transformation, which I'll go ahead and show that to you guys. Basically, you just flip out these arms like this, turn them around to where you have the nice little detailing there on his arms. Flip out his infamous cannon, if I can get a hold of it there. Bring this down, and we'll move on to the legs. Just straighten them out, flip it around. Now, the one thing about his feet is on the G1 Shockwave, if you're looking at it like this is this would be on the G1 Shockwave, like the animation model. These were his feet, but as you can see on the figure, they've actually been reversed. And because on the old one, this used to be the front part of his feet. Now, you can pop these out and attempt to put them in there like the old school cartoon look, but it doesn't work all that well. They don't really hold in there that well. And so, you know, I'm actually okay with them looking backwards, sort of, because it does give him greater stabilization, because you look at the way the legs are constructed and you understand why these are now heel spurs, so to speak. So we go ahead and make him sit there. Basically, you just pull the chest down like that, and it exposes his robot mode head. You take the cannon back here, and you've got yourself Shockwave. Now let me go ahead and reorient the camera real quick. Ah, much better. We get a totally improved look at you here, Cyclops. Now, one thing that I do want to go ahead and bring out real quickly is, as you notice in Transformation, we had to move his cannon over here. Now, it's designed that way on purpose, but I don't know whether it was intentional or not, but it kind of homages the G1 Megatron. As if you remember, he actually had his barrel that was sticking out from behind his right shoulder as well, which I thought, if it's intentionally an homage, that's kind of cool. But the reason that he does have that is sorry if I can get it out here, it's a re-implementation of the gimmick in robot mode. So basically, if you can see, he has this lever back here, and basically all you do is you just flip it up, and it comes real close to like his robot mode head, but you flip it up here and it flips out 2 of the blasters, and now he actually has this coming over his shoulder. So I mean, it's a different kind of take on Shockwave, having a yet another one in addition to his gun arm, but I'm strangely enough okay with it because I think it looks really good. Plus, again, it does, with the detailing on top of the cannon, it does help tie in with the detailing on top of his arms. However, if we go ahead and flip this back down, one thing that a lot of people will note on the artwork, and it is true on the figure, is his face here. I guess in the show, he has like a smaller eye up here on top of his head that supplements the big one down here. And I guess in the animation model, his eye is not covered as much as it is here on the figure. So that is the one complaint that I do have, is that, you know, half of his eye, his traditional Cyclops eye, is covered. But it's not such a drastic thing that I just outright hate the figure for that tiny flaw. Everything else, I mean, it just screams who this character is supposed to represent. I love it. Even though he is not a gun, I love how they did keep the silver paneling down here on his legs. That's awesome. Well, to give you a little bit better idea, here he is next to, well, this Megatron, or who I'm using as this Megatron. And definitely with the difference, like I said, you can definitely see how this is a little bit more grittier, a little bit more intricate, whereas this just kind of has more of that softer animation feel over here. Which, I mean, technically I guess you could use them. I wanted to use this with my Prime figures, but those figures are especially very intricately detailed, maybe even more than the Titans figures. Oh, pardon me. And it was pretty jarring to see the difference in the styling between the two. So I'm not quite sure where on my shelf I'm going to fit him in. But we'll see if we can do something about that. But other than that, guys, I didn't want to make this a really long, big review. There's not really all that much to this guy. I believe that he is well worth the price. And I think if you're just wanting a fun little Shockwave that's easy to transform and is kind of a new, interesting take, then you'll like this guy. So, again, that's been the review of Transformers Cyberverse Shockwave. Until next time, guys, we'll see you in another review.